What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and recently I've been getting a lot of requests to put together a legendary tank build at the channel. Now, I've done this a few different times before, one around the Catharsis, one around the Forge Holster. However, today I wanted to show you another one of my favorites. Now, if you happen to enjoy this video, do me a favor really quick and hit that like button. We do have a 300 like goal per video. You can feel free to subscribe or join as well, and we do have giveaways here. Our current one is for an Xbox Series S. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced December 31st of this year. Now, two things as we start off. First of all, as I always say, remember, my friends, this is a template. This is one of so many different ways to put a legendary tank build together. I've done like 3 or 4 different versions. This is another one. And secondly, the main focus of this initial footage is to show you how tanky you are with this build. Now, I want to point out the fact that my aim sucks with a handgun, and the reason that's important is because my time to kill is pretty slow with this build because I am not very efficient with a handgun. And the reason I want to highlight that is I know a lot of people sometimes are reluctant to jump into legendary content. Look, if I can make it through it with like no aim whatsoever and have a build that can keep me alive, I guarantee you can as well. So starting off with the specialization, we're using Technician for a few reasons. First of all, it gives us an extra 12% damage bonus to drone skill proxies and robotics, and that is really helpful because we're running legendary. And secondly, it also gives us use of the Artificer Hive, which is insanely helpful when it comes to your shield strength. You're going to see that thing kick in throughout the gameplay. And remember, regardless of which specialization you choose, always have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting an extra 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you have equipped. Now keep in mind as I say that, because I always have the Bulwark Shield out with this build, that means my handgun is really my primary. So when it comes to the other 2 weapons, that's really up to you, my friends. It's dealer's choice. Put whatever you want there. It's totally fine. Now when it comes to the handgun, what you have equipped here is obviously going to be dependent on what you have in your inventory. So for me, I'm using the Liberty. I absolutely love that weapon. If you have the Regulus, I strongly recommend that. Now if you don't have either of those, try using a D50 with a talent close and personal. Now the reason that talent is so effective is because every time you kill an NPC within 7 meters, you get a 30% weapon damage bonus for 10 seconds. And when you're playing legendary, these NPCs are rushing you. So typically you have your handgun out, you've got your shield, they're pretty damn close, so that talent should be running all the time. Moving on to the gear itself, you can see I'm running 1 Douglas and Harding, 1 Bellstone, and 4 Foundry. Starting with the mask, it is the named Punch Drunk mask. Now this is still a Dark Zone exclusive, however you can get it from Npc'S, so if you want to pick it up and you don't want to go into the DZ, you can also get this item from Npc'S as well, so I recommend jumping into Countdown, earning resources, buying as many Npc'S as you can, and hopefully you get lucky and pick this thing up. Now in the meantime, you can just use a regular piece of Douglas and Harding and just stack whatever attributes you want on there. Next we have the body armor, which is the first of 4 pieces of the Foundry gear set. We're using all 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. 2 pieces 10% total armor, 3 pieces 1% armor regen and 50% shield health, and 4 pieces makeshift repairs. Whenever you or your shield take damage, 20% of that amount is repaired to both over 15 seconds. Now because we're using the body armor, that increases makeshift repairs from 20% to 30%. Moving on to the holster, it's the 1 piece of Bellstone, which gives us that 1% armor regen, and on all of these pieces I'm trying to stack protection from elites. That is the main goal on any piece that I can add a mod. I am definitely doing that there. I recommend that as well. Now when it comes to the holster, once again you have a lot of options you can choose from, just like with the mask. You know, I talked about a version where I used the Forge holster. You could also use a piece of Walker and Harris if you want something that has more kick to it. It's really up to you, my friends. So again, try out different things and see which one works best for you. Finishing off with the gloves, the knee pads, and the backpack, they are the 3 remaining pieces of the Foundry gear set. Now as I said before, the main goal is to stack a few different things. First of all, I want for the mods, we want to do protection from elites. Secondly, I'm trying to stack armor regen or explosive resistance because it really does help out anytime you're running legendary. Now because we're using the Foundry bag, it also speeds up makeshift repairs from 15 seconds to 10 seconds, and that really does help out a lot. Now one thing I recommend, if you do not have any decent, Foundry gear, again, run Countdown. You can do 2 or 3 legendary run, set that as your targeted loot, and you should be getting a ton of stuff. Now when it comes to the skills, I'm using my Hive and I'm using the Bulwark Shield. You can see the health on this thing is 14 million, and again, because you're using that Hive, and not only that, but with a combination of makeshift repairs, you're going to see your shield health stay steadily strong. When it drops, it does shoot back up. So again, for those of you that have been hesitant to jump into legendary, this build will totally help you out. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family that we have here at the channel. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know, as the main goal here is to try to help out as many people as we can. One recommendation I have for players who are just jumping into legendary content is start off in the summit. It's much easier because it's close quarters. You know, you can keep your back to a wall, which is what you want to do with a build like this. So it is a great place to test things out, see how things respond, and go from there. With all that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up. However, as always, I want to thank you all for your amazing support of this channel. And just to remind you, my friends, I'm never going anywhere with The Division whatsoever. I'm covering other games, that's going to continue, but The Division content will never stop. I am still excited for the future. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. Now, I do want to mention the fact, and this is for the group I'm running with here, I got dealt it at the beginning of the mission. I did not bail on you. I wanted to make that clear. And anyway, like I said at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Press A to start. Press Y to switch profile.